Hey everyone, we're here for another week of LC Premier League replay analysis. I know you all said in the last videos that all the teams were boring, so we decided to shake it up a bit here with a team with a lowland Sandshrew and a Zap Cannon Slowpoke to start you off. We didn't actually get to see the Zap Cannon in game, but this team has a lot of interesting decks that I think you're gonna like. So be sure to stick around to see what the Onyx set is, because it is not what you think. So, looking at this matchup, uh, I'd like to see Ace's perspective here. What did you think looking into this?
Looking into this, like from having built this team with you, I kind of like the matchup. It kind of like uh, from like each team member kind of fits what they're trying to do. Like Sandshrew is there for the Abra. Then we have the Slowpoke with the Zap Cannon for the Natu, to be able to paralyze it, and the Onyx for the coughing. So everything lined up pretty well.
I think one thing that's interesting here to mention is that normally most teams use either a Poniard or a Pharaoh Seed as a steel type to both set up hazards and resist Pokemon like, Porygon and Abra. We don't have that. We have a Nololan Sandshrew instead, which is way weaker. It doesn't take hits like half well, but it does have Rapid Spin. So
yeah,
you take the good with the bad.
I mean,
honestly, I think you can start this game.
Yeah, honestly, I think Alola Sandshrew is kind of underrated, but that might be just me.
Before we start, did you have any idea about like what the Abra set would be in this? Because they have
probably just Shed.
Yeah, I kind of assumed the standard shed shell.
Okay.
Anything else would be kind of surprising, and I have Diglett anyways if it isn't shed shell, so
I mean, as you see it, the lead matchup reveals itself to be redacted very quickly.
Well, because as soon as you start and you lead, I'm wondering exactly what you're thinking.
Oh yeah, so basically, so what I was thinking on the lead, if I go here, so my team has a Larvesta, which is really good in this team actually because it has no fire resist and also no Diglett to trap my Larvesta. So leading Fu is kind of risky for him. So I figured he wasn't gonna lead Fu. He was gonna lead either Abra with Shed Shell or coughing to be able to Sludge Bomb the Larvesta. So I figured Diglett was a good way to cover both, so that's why I went Diglett. And if he ever leads me into it, I can just go back to my Larvesta and he has no way to punish it. So that was my train of thought there, by leading Diglett, and thankfully it worked.
Yeah, I think you could just go on.
Yeah, so now
I don't think we need to.
Yeah, it kind of reveals to be Shed Shell right away. I went for sub in case he went directly for Natu. Of course, if I had Earthquake...
That was a bad play, I think. Just Quaking would have been better.
No, because of Trap Pinch, I think either's fine.
Yeah, because if I Quake and kill something, or if he goes Natu and U-turns, then the Trap Pinch can revenge kill the Diglett. I don't want to lose it just yet.
Yeah, I can see it.
So I go to Larvesta and get the burn immediately, yeah, which is really good for me. So now the Mienfoo is not that much of a threat anymore. And as you can see, he doesn't have a really good switch into Larvesta, so he just went to Abra and back to Mienfoo on the U-turn just to stall it out. So my Larvesta is kind of unscathed from that excursion. And I went to Timber here just to trade Nox with the Mienfoo, because I figured my Timber is pretty useless against this team, and I just wanted the Mienfoo weaken so that I could remove it easier later on. So Nox are traded here, and he goes for a U-turn, I believe, into the coughing. Yeah, and I just drain here. I figured didn't need to knock, and just in case it was deep, just to be able to keep my Valite on the switch in. And now I think the
this is where the game actually starts being interesting. So far, we only had minor jostling for positioning, and now that the Onyx is in, Paraplegic did not see this one coming. So this Onyx Go ahead.
Yeah.
As you can see here from this this damage on the Pharaoh Seed and well the damage it does to itself.
Yeah.
The Onyx is Life Orb, which I think Life Orb, to my knowledge, this is the first ever Life Orb Onyx
Yeah,
I have ever
I think
seen.
that was my that was a
It's been
really
used
interesting.
before, but it's only been used on webs.
Oh really?
Well, doesn't count.
Yeah, so this is really interesting because you actually still have like defensive utility out of the Onyx,
Mhm.
and it is still also threatening without relying on a broken webs.
Yeah, well, it does rely on something else to get hits, but as you can see, we can break past the Pharaoh Seed quite yet, so we kind of have to like chip it down. So it doesn't go in quite yet, but it's gonna have its chance soon.
You
Yeah.
arguably force them to even have to Giga Drain here, or like play around you just staying in. It's sort of like a soft 50-50 here about them getting up rocks. And then nothing else really
true.
lets Arrow in again.
Yeah, I think speaking from paraplegic's perspective, the Larvesta is really hard to deal with. So I think if he wants to try to win this game, one thing he's gonna have to do is to try to get his special attackers in safely. So Natu or Abra. Because my Slowpoke just teleported on the coughing, and now it's like it doesn't have the regen health. It's at like 23%. Switching into Natu or Abra would be really hard for me. So I think the way he can win this is if he leaves the Larvesta, he like pivots so the Larvesta goes out and then deals the necessary damage with the special attackers. That would probably be his way to win.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been so tempted to click rocks here if I was him. I don't know if that actually is a line that does anything.
No, that's pretty terrible.
Yeah, well, I think what I was I went to Larvesta here instead of the normal reaction would be to go to Timber, for example, on the Pharaoh Seed to be able to defog rocks off as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But my Timber is knocked off, and like I didn't want the Pharaoh Seed to like Giga Drain and slurp up like to almost full. So what I did is go to Larvesta, and if he rocks, then I can just U-turn out into like either Shrew or Timber, or else and then defog after, or else if he goes Giga Drain, then I deny the regeneration from the drain. Yeah, because it just does no damage, and like I get to catch the Giga Drain. so now he has to go for Mienfu.
I just want to take a quick second. So this Larvesta said also it pops up a lot on the ladder, and I don't know why. But then I started looking at it and I was like, it doesn't get trapped by Diglett, and it actually like it's like a sweeper now. So we just flipped our bulky pivot, and with the power of Flame Charge, we magically now it's a sweeper. And if you look at the opponent's team, they have 0 fire resist, so we kind of just get the click moves now.
Yeah, Larvesta's matchup's kind of insane here.
Yeah. This is why you should be using Larvesta.
Yeah, he has to just chip it down, and I think he has to wear it down with the recoil damage it's going to take. Just sacking the Pharaoh there. Sacking the Pharaoh is actually huge, because now that Pharaoh is gone, the Onyx doesn't have he doesn't have a good way of resisting Onyx anymore.
Yeah.
So
tries to trap it. You obviously cannot trap a U-turn user.
Yeah, it's probably just to force it out.
Yeah.
But forcing it out also forces the damage onto the trap hinge, which makes it less reliable to trap the Onyx as well. Again. Yeah, and now I'm just sacking the Timber, because now that Pharaoh Seed is gone, I don't really need that much I don't really need the removal at all, in fact. So I can just sack it and wear down the coughing a little.
And now let's play a game. Pause right now. What? Shit.
Oh shit.
I was gonna say, type in the comments what you think the moves on this Onyx are. If you guessed Sub Protect Life Orb, you were correct. We have Sub here on the Memento. We were thinking he would probably like Sludge Bomb or
or Will-O-Wisp
Wisp.
actually. Yeah.
but this is fine as well.
Yeah. The idea is that Substitute blocks the Wisp, and Coughing can't actually break the sub down with the Sludge Bomb. So
Yeah.
this
And
kind
now
of
we
worked.
click.
This kind of worked pretty well.
I
And
think
now
we
we
can
just
just
click.
let the
Yeah.
people enjoy the destruction. So this Mienfoo tries. Doesn't really succeed. Tries to pivot out to the Natu.
Yeah. And when protect,
flying. Yeah.
just to scout for the high jump kick, because if Mienfu's burned, high jump kick is actually the only move that can break the sub. So just wanted to scout that, because at this point I'm just so comfortable I don't lose anything. Try. And Smash just drops Natu entirely.
Yep.
And
Trapinch tries. Can't really trap it either.
yeah, it makes a little progress by breaking the sub, but it's not going to be enough at this point, because now the Diglett as well is behind and just cleans with the Life Orb.
So we actually have 2 Life Orb ground sweepers.
Yep.
So they ended up kind of destroying the whole team. So this Abra's trying to fish for a miss, not getting it. And at this point, the game is basically over. We just click ground moves until we win.
And this is what I like about using Larvesta. It's a fighting and Grookey check that doesn't actually lose momentum because it can U-turn. And just because of this, I can send my Furler attackers really really freely and just fire off attacks without having to worry about Grookey.
Yeah.
And that was basically the game. I think I got kind of lucky with the matchup, but honestly, I'm really proud of coming up with this team with Pap.
It was a lot of fun to make this. I agree. Anyway, I think we can move on to the next one.
I think it's really insulting to everyone else that this team actually works. It's so ugly, but it works.
Yeah, I think it's a good team to show that even the more almost half forgotten mons can still put in work if you put them together well enough. All right.
Yeah.
I'll pause it real quick. I'll come back with the next game.
Okay, so now we're doing a major skip in time to the final game of the week. Actually, this one was between ISS and Plasmagby. Now, context is important here. ISS's team, they actually lost 2 games because one player got completely smashed at a club, and one player was playing Valorant, and as such, they started the week basically with 2 losses, or they basically lost 2 games without even playing Pokemon. So this game was really clutch, because if ISS could secure the tie, it mean that even with 2 freebies, they were still able to at least salvage it somewhat. So ISS's team is a pretty interesting sand team. There are 2 ways I could have seen this team go. It's either a sand stall with Pori and a toxic Bronzor and a stack a hazard stack Ammonite with spikes.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be way more offensive with a setting a setup Bronzor and a Shell Smash Omastar. Now Plasmagby's team, I think every Monon team is pretty self-explanatory. I don't really think there's too much to explain. For people who don't play Black and White, one of the big differences between this one and SS is that knockoff is only 20 base power, and so Pokemon Frillish and Ghastly actually kind of acts as, well, they are fight resist in this gen, even if in SS they're not really good switch-ins to Mienfoo. So that's one thing to keep in mind as you watch this game. Do you have anything to add to what I said?
Just Bronzor is somewhat scared of knockoff because it really likes its item, but it fully checks Ghastly unless it has hidden power for it. It's not actually forced out by Mienfoo if it doesn't need to keep its item. And because of that, it actually looks pretty interesting against Abra, Porygon, and Ghastly here.
I think we can try to go in and start to look at this game. So if I recall correctly, this starts exactly like every SS game. Yep.
Yep. You got it too fast there.
I don't think I have to explain this one. Just roll the clip. And you see a fake out, and here you're gonna see knockoffs. I told you, you know, no one is gonna be scared by the black and white. They're all used to seeing this. Nothing too interesting. So this is what I was mentioning. The Ghastly here being the fight resist. As he does go to Porygon, Porygon does not. I forget if it just does not have access to download. If it just isn't compatible. It's
illegal with download. So Tri Attack is not something else I can run. Staryu has a similar issue with Hydro Pump and Analytic.
So basically, almost every Porygon in this gen is going to be the fat one, right? With Trace, defensive EVs, and then usually Thunder Wave, 2 coverage moves, and obviously Recover. And as you can see here, it kind of walls this Ghastly. Ghastlies sometimes do run Trick, so that's something to watch out for, but roll clip. I think he does go for the Trick, actually. What does he do? No, he switches out. Okay, doesn't opt to fight this one out. Again, Trace being paralyzed with Porygon is not the end of the world, since you're always going to be defensive. And here he sets up the Sand. So one thing about Black and White is that Sand lasts literally forever. The abusers aren't as strong. You know, we don't have Sand Rush drills with Life Orbs or whatnot, but we do have, you know, the buff, just the chip damage, and it actually does stack over time, especially in LC. I noticed a lot of times, you know, the sand damage really is quite noticeable. And it also boosts the spit up from the Ammonite, so that'll be something interesting to keep in mind.
Just as a note, the Sand Rush abusers ended up being banned, much like in OU.
That was like Drober, I guess.
Yeah,
like Drober.
I think one of the main abusers I've seen was like, I think Sand Force Diglett or something, from the little I know of Black White.
Yeah, that's a set people use.
And Sandvale Diglett before it was banned.
Sandvale?
Yeah, Sandvale Diglett, but we won't talk about that.
Oh no.
Extremely cringe.
Let us not remember.
It ran Swagger.
Just move on.
Swagger.
Move on.
Okay, yes, gladly.
So, not really too much. The Hippo itself is not really that important in this matchup. But I don't think either of them really need it. Hippopotas run Crunch to hit Naku, which often wants to prevent Rock from setting up. And again, this game really is starting off quite like an average SS game, I think, so far. Go ahead.
Crunch is also just for Ghastly, just the overlapping coverage there.
Oh, true. And finally, we see the Bronzor coming in. Now, this Bronzor, normally it would be either like a Flash Cannon, Calm Mind, Rest Stock set. I've also seen a couple, when I played in Sand and World Cup, I used a Sand team with a Toxic, Protect, Psychic, Bronzor. So it could be either of those, and it's kind of hard to tell.
I think there's also isn't there also something like Oranberry Recycle? Wait, is there? Yeah.
There is.
Yeah, that's what I was using. So it was like Toxic, Oranberry, Psychic.
And the only reason you'd really want to run that is because of how sleep works in this gen. If you switch out after you rest, it's still an issue.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So this Bronzor right here, go ahead.
Yeah, but I think Fiend mentioned that Bronzor was scared of knockoff, right? I think Plaz making a good double here, like predicting the Bronzor coming in, so switching to Mienfoo.
But this is the best way for him to make progress right now, is he has to get either a knockoff or a U-turn here, and just get something in.
So we'll see. So he goes for the Ghastly. so he's taking a knockoff. The Violet Ghastly. You don't see those too often in the recent gens.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's banned,
quite
so
good.
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
So right here, keep in mind that this Porygon is paralyzed. That will come into play much later into this game. But for now, still, they are both jostling for position. Neither of them have been able to quite, make a breakthrough yet. But I think, that poison was really big. So now the Mienfoo is at very low health. And even though this Ghastly might get trapped, I'd still say ISSN is in a favorable position because the Mienfoo is one of the main things stopping, the Ammonite, the Bronzor, and all that good stuff. So now, this Bronzor,
So you kind
it
of,
shows
what are we gonna see this set to be? Oh, I guess we don't know yet.
it shows Psychic, and that's actually really big because normally you'd want to run Flash Cannon. You can just let this roll, by the way, while I'm talking,
Okay.
because this takes a while. So normally you'd want to have Flash Cannon, otherwise, you don't hit Dark types. You're the only Bronzor that is walled by Carvana, but the fact that he has Psychic and not Flash Cannon makes it so that he can actually pretty efficiently try to move past this Frillish. So he's going to set up a couple of Called Mind here. And as you can see, once he sets up, he kind of beats everything on Plasmagmi's team. So like, what do you do here if you're Plasmagmi? I'll try to ask Ace since you don't really play this. Like, how does Plasmagmi win this? There is an out to this. And it's a pretty. I think it's a little lucky, but I think it's his only chance.
I'm taking a look and I don't see. So Diglett can't touch it because it's just levitate. He can't.
So the
he
correct
can't hit
answer
it.
was.
Oh,
I think we'll see it soon. The correct answer is that since the Bronzor doesn't actually one-hit KO the Frillish, he can fish for Frillish's ability, which is Curse Body, which activates around 30% of the time, right? And
Yep.
what it does is it disables the move, and normally that's not really a super big deal because you just switch up the move. But the Bronzor only has one attacking, and now the Bronzor can't do anything, and you're like, okay, cool. And now this Abra is a Life Orb Abra with Taunt, so now the Bronzor can't use Psychic, nor can it use any of its
Wait, I
attacking moves.
think there's also a difference in Generation 5. I think Disable might work. Disable or Taunt might work differently. Am I right?
So they don't. It's. I'm not
believe
sure what
it's
you're
the
hinting
same.
at.
I think it's the same.
The same. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it lasted longer, or
No.
no. Okay.
In Gen 3 it's shorter. I forget.
Yeah.
I think also in Gen 4 it's shorter, but Gen 5 it's
So-
brought up to what you're familiar with.
Okay.
I think it's only Gen 3.
Okay. Okay. I see.
Yeah. So right here, he finally manages to, kill the Abra. He didn't. I guess he didn't really want to pivot out against the Abra, which makes sense because he doesn't really have a good pivot for it. But roll the clip. Now to me, Enfu is going to force the Bronzor out, and I think ISS made a good play here of keeping the Bronzor because you can still bring it back against the Frillish or most certainly the Porygon or probably the Diglett.
I
So
mean,
there's still a lot you can do here.
it's just more useful than the burned hippo.
That's, yeah, exactly. Even if it's at very, very low health.
Ooh,
So now
not-
this Omnite,
Yeah.
we've already seen that it was an offensive-ish Bronzor, so it most likely here would be Shell Smash to complement the tempo of the team, right? And the cool thing is that even if this Ghastly is like Thunderbolt, the fact that he has this buff raise from Sand, from being a Rock type, means that he can very comfortably set up on this Ghastly, or he could if...
I believe it would set up on this comfortably and then survive Minfu fake out if it was a Life Orb Ghastly and a quick
Yeah.
Thunderbolt here.
One thing I wanna say is that you can tell this is Shell Smash and not Spikes because I think the idea behind his Steam is that if your bronzer gets walled by something like the dark bird, what's
Wallaby?
Oh.
Yeah. Wallaby, they run special. So if there's a Wallaby that walls the bronzer, this just can Shell Smash and sweep.
That
On
makes a
the
lot of
Wallaby?
sense. On
Yeah.
the Wallaby,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. All right.
So this Ghastly actually reveals the taunt, which is not a common move at all. Yeah, we don't see that one too often. It was
Yes,
a
double
surprise.
taunt on Abra and Ghastly.
Yeah. So the Ammonite picks up a kill, and it gets trapped. But this is one of the cool things about Ammonite is that it's actually that even a Life Orb super effective Earthquake from Diglett doesn't kill it, so it can pick up a kill on the Diglett. And now this is a really tricky endgame because you can't bring back the Bronzor against the Gas. So you kind of have to go to your Porygon, but you kind of want to get your weakness kind of get the Bronzor onto Porygon, or to just find a way to chip down the Ghastly and win with your own Mienfoo. So it'll be very interesting how they both play around it. So goes to Porygon here on the Thunderbolt, and this is where I said that the Para. Remember he's paralyzed. He can actually fish for the Para, and he actually does get it on the first try. So that's, that Porygon being dead actually is not the end of the world for for Plasmagby, because now the Bronzor does not come back in on anything. So kind of like not the best moment to get lucky.
A blessing in disguise.
Yeah. Maybe.
I mean,
It depends on how it goes down.
now he's
long-term.
just a stack down though, so I think no matter what, he was already just kind of out of the game, unless, I don't know, I guess.
No, I think you can pivot out, because this Mienfoo also does not have any switch on ISS's side. You can't go Mienfoo. The Bronzor is pretty dead. The Porygon is also pretty much dead.
Yeah.
So, and neither does the Ghastly is also really hard to switch around, since the Bronzor is not really switching, and the Porygon could get poisoned.
We'll see how it deals with this. There's a Bronzor. Oh,
Sacrifices the Bronzor
I mean, I think
on the U-turn.
both players here just made the only play they had.
Yeah.
I
And
think
now, he actually keeps it, and there's very little sand damage, but that sand damage, like I said, it adds up over
Yeah,
time,
that
especially with
rock.
rocks. If it's out again,
Yeah,
back to
that was-
Ghastly.
Good stay in as well.
Yeah,
now
he
that's-
was predicting the not high jump kicking. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good play, because if Plasmagby just went for the high jump kick, this would have been a really, if he went for the obvious play, would have been a really difficult position.
No, actually, I think if he goes for the high jump kick, the Minfu dies, right?
I believe it does.
At this
but-
range, it does.
he
Yeah, I
would
think he
win
was at
anyway.
14. Yeah, but I think maybe the Ghastly can win. Does it one hit KO
Um,
Mienfoo though?
It
No.
can. It's Eviolite, so it'd have to crit though.
It doesn't have its Eviolite. Yeah.
I
No.
meant Ghastly's Eviolite.
Oh, it doesn't kill
And-
Eviolite.
yeah.
Oh, Ghastly. Oh. Okay.
And Ghastly has taunt, so it's not going to be like a random psychic.
Right.
You just don't have to be scared of that.
I think both times that there was a Mienfoo here, he could have gone to Mienfoo himself.
But what if he takes a high jump kick though?
It doesn't die, so who cares?
Well then you can't risk. Would it be a speed tie? Oh no, you can
Um,
fake out, right?
Not
No, I don't think
necessarily.
he's fake out.
Oh.
So I don't think turn 1 was a speed tie.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess, but he didn't go. He didn't go for Mianfu, and then I guess he got to predict right, and
No, he played this right. I don't even think that was a prediction. You just, if they stay in and click high jump kick, they die, and then you're
Yeah, but they
fine.
win. Like,
No, because then you win with Mianfu.
And then
I mean, I'm guessing. I was guessing Gasly was pain split, so that's why I thought he would win.
yeah,
Well, in any case, now that it's got that predict right, I think
yeah, that predict really sealed the game. But that was still like, look at how close this ends up being. If he got like, if the Gasly hit the Mienfu even once, it was probably over. So very close game, very well played on both sides, I think, and the two players missing their games did not end up mattering.
well, it didn't matter, but he kind of recovered with this
they
win.
got the tie. They recovered. They salvaged it. So good job to ISS. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this
I
video.
think that was the last
Yeah.
last game of the week as well. So that
Yeah,
was
it
a really
was.
intense one to end on. All right, so thanks you guys so much for watching, and feel free to leave a like or a comment or subscribe to the channel. I'll link some of the other channel of the team members of the channel members here down in the description.
Post in the comments if there's any Pokemon you would like to see in the next video, even if it's not like an SS, and we'll try to use it. I try to find a game with it.
If people are brave enough to use them, that is. All right. Well,
Bye-bye.
we'll see that in the next week.